Right now, there is a growing belief in the crypto market that XRP is not just another digital coin, but a key piece in the future of global finance. Over the past few months, more discussions have started around how XRP could be used by banks, financial institutions, and even governments to move money faster and cheaper. Many analysts are now talking about a possible XRP thesis, a big idea that XRP could reach extremely high prices if it becomes widely adopted in real-world systems. This is not just hype anymore. It is based on real developments, partnerships, and increasing clarity in regulations. As the financial world slowly moves toward digital systems, XRP is being seen as a bridge between traditional banking and blockchain technology. In today's video, we are going to break down one of the most talked about topics in the XRP community right now: the idea that XRP could reach an insanely high price in the future. Some people are calling this the moment where the XRP thesis is finally being confirmed, but what does that actually mean? Is this just another prediction, or is there something bigger happening behind the scenes? We are going to look at the facts, the logic, and the reasons why many investors believe XRP could be preparing for a massive move. This is not about hype. This is about understanding what is really going on and why it matters. What if I told you that XRP is not meant to stay at low prices forever, and that the current price you are seeing right now could be one of the biggest opportunities in crypto history? What if the real value of XRP is being hidden in plain sight while most people are distracted by short-term price movements? And what if the biggest players in the financial world are already preparing for something that the public has not fully understood yet? In this video, we are going to uncover why the XRP thesis is gaining strength and why some believe that an insanely high price is not just possible, but inevitable. Welcome back to XRP On Moon, your go-to place for simple and clear XRP updates. If you want to stay ahead and understand what is really happening in the XRP space, you are in the right place. Now let's get into the main discussion. The idea of an insanely high price for XRP might sound unrealistic at first, but when you start to look at how the global financial system works, things begin to make more sense. Every day, trillions of dollars move across borders. These transactions are slow, expensive, and often take days to settle. This is where XRP comes into the picture. XRP was designed to solve this exact problem by acting as a bridge currency that can move value in seconds. If even a small portion of global transactions starts using XRP, the demand for it could increase massively. Another important point is supply. Unlike many other assets, XRP has a fixed supply. This means that as demand increases, the price has only one direction to go: up. This is one of the key arguments behind the XRP thesis. People believe that if institutions start using XRP at scale, there simply will not be enough supply at current prices to handle that level of demand. On top of that, there has been a lot of focus on regulation. In the past, uncertainty around rules has held XRP back, but now things are slowly becoming clearer. As clarity improves, more institutions may feel comfortable entering the market. This could be a major turning point. And here's the thing, its markets often move before the public fully understands what is happening. By the time everyone realizes the true potential, prices may already be much higher. This is why many are now saying the XRP thesis is not just a theory anymore. It is starting to look like a real possibility. To understand why people are now taking the XRP thesis more seriously, we need to look at how the current financial system actually operates behind the scenes. Today, when money moves from one country to another, it does not go directly from sender to receiver. Instead, it passes through multiple banks, systems, and middle layers. This process is not only slow, often taking 2 to 5 days, but it is also expensive due to fees at every step. Now imagine a system where that same transfer happens in just a few seconds with almost no extra cost. That is exactly the problem XRP was built to solve, and this is where the real value starts to become clear. Large financial institutions are always looking for ways to reduce cost and increase speed. Even a small improvement in efficiency can save them billions over time. This is why the idea of using a digital asset like XRP is so powerful. Instead of holding large amounts of money in different countries to handle payments, institutions could use XRP as a bridge. They can convert their local currency into XRP, send it across the world instantly, and convert it back into another currency. This process is often called on-demand liquidity, and it removes the need for pre-funded accounts. Now, think about scale for a moment. The global payments market is massive, with trillions of dollars moving every single day. If XRP captures even a small percentage of that volume, the demand for XRP would increase significantly. And as demand increases while supply remains fixed, the price naturally starts to rise. This is one of the strongest arguments behind the idea of an insanely high XRP price. It is not based on guesswork, but on simple supply and demand logic. Another key factor that many people overlook is timing. Technologies like this do not get adopted overnight. It takes years of development, testing, and building trust. XRP has already been around for a long time, and during that time, a lot of groundwork has been done, partnerships have been formed, systems have been tested, and awareness has grown. What we may be seeing now is not the beginning, but the early stages of adoption. At the same time, market behavior also plays a big role. In crypto, prices often stay low for long periods, making people lose interest. Then suddenly, when something big happens, the price moves very fast. Those who are patient benefit the most, while others are left trying to catch up. This pattern has repeated many times in the past across different assets. There is also a psychological side to this. When people hear extremely high price predictions, they often reject them immediately because it sounds too good to be true. But the reality is that many assets in history have gone through similar phases. Before they reached high valuations, most people did not believe it was possible. The same could be happening here with XRP. So when you combine all these factors, real-world use, growing interest from institutions, fixed supply, and massive market size, the idea of XRP reaching a much higher price starts to look less like hype and more like a logical outcome. The big question now is not if things will change, but how fast it will happen and who will be ready when it does. Another important piece of the XRP thesis that many people are now focusing on is liquidity, and this is where things start to get even more interesting. Liquidity simply means how easily an asset can be bought or sold without affecting its price too much. For XRP to play a major role in global finance, it needs deep liquidity so that large transactions can happen smoothly. This is exactly why some analysts believe that XRP cannot stay at a low price if it is used at a global level. In fact, a higher price may actually be necessary for the system to function efficiently when handling very large amounts of money. Think about it in simple terms. If XRP is priced very low, you would need a huge number of tokens to move large amounts of value. This could create inefficiencies and slow things down. But if the price of XRP is higher, fewer tokens are needed to move the same amount of money. This makes the system faster, smoother, and more practical for institutions. This is one of the key ideas behind the high price thesis, and it's that the value of XRP may need to increase significantly to support large-scale usage. There is also growing discussion around how financial systems are evolving globally. Many countries are exploring digital currencies and faster payment networks. As these systems develop, there is a need for a neutral bridge asset that can connect different currencies and systems together. XRP is often mentioned in this conversation because of its speed, low cost, and ability to settle transactions quickly. If it becomes part of this new financial structure, the demand for XRP could grow far beyond what most people expect today. Another factor that supports this thesis is the shift in how institutions think about blockchain technology. In the past, many large players were unsure or hesitant, but now the mindset is slowly changing. More institutions are researching, testing, and even adopting blockchain-based solutions. This does not mean everything will happen overnight, but it does show a clear direction. As confidence grows, adoption can accelerate, and when that happens, the impact on price can be very strong. At the same time, it is important to understand that markets are driven by both fundamentals and perception. Even if the technology is strong, the price will not move unless people believe in its future value. Right now, we are starting to see a shift in perception. More people are talking about real use cases instead of just speculation. This is a healthy sign for long-term growth. There is also the idea that XRP could benefit from network effects. This means that as more people and institutions start using it, its value increases even more. Each new user adds to the overall strength of the network, making it more useful and more valuable over time. This kind of growth can start slowly, but once it reaches a certain point, it can accelerate very quickly. When you put all of this together, the need for high liquidity, the role of XRP in global systems, changing institutional attitudes, and growing network effects, the picture becomes clearer. The idea of an insanely high price is not just based on hope. It is connected to how the system might actually need to work in the future. And if that future starts to take shape, XRP could move in ways that most people are not fully prepared for today. Now let's take this discussion one step further and look at what could actually trigger a major move in XRP's price, because understanding the why is important, but understanding the when is what really matters to most people. Markets do not move just because something has value. They move when there is a clear shift that forces participants to react. In the case of XRP, there are a few key triggers that many analysts believe could act as a spark for a much larger price movement. One of the biggest triggers is full regulatory clarity. For a long time, uncertainty around rules has been one of the main reasons why large institutions stayed away. Big money does not like risk when it comes to legal issues. But once there is clear guidance and a stable framework, it opens the door for banks, payment providers, and financial companies to enter with confidence. When that happens, the flow of capital can increase very quickly, and this is when price movements can become strong and aggressive. Another major trigger could be real, visible adoption at scale. It is one thing to talk about partnerships and technology, but it is another thing to actually see large volumes moving through the network on a daily basis. When the market starts to see proof that XRP is being used in real transactions across countries, it changes the entire narrative. At that point, XRP is no longer just a speculative asset. It becomes a working part of the financial system. This kind of shift can attract not only institutions, but also retail investors who were previously unsure. There is also the possibility of a supply shock. As more XRP gets used in real systems, a portion of it may be locked or held for operational purposes. At the same time, long-term holders may choose not to sell, especially if they believe in much higher future prices. This reduces the available supply in the market. When supply becomes tight and demand continues to grow, prices can move up very quickly. This is basic market behavior, but when it happens on a large scale, the impact can be extreme. Another point to consider is how fast sentiment can change. In crypto, things can stay quiet for a long time, and then suddenly everything moves at once. News spreads quickly, social media amplifies it, and within days or even hours, a new narrative takes over. If XRP starts to gain strong positive attention, it could create a cycle where rising prices attract more buyers, and more buyers push the price even higher. This kind of momentum can be very powerful. It is also important to understand that the biggest moves often happen when the majority is not expecting them. Right now, many people are still uncertain about XRP. Some doubt its potential, while others are waiting for confirmation. But markets do not wait for everyone to be ready. By the time there is full agreement, the opportunity is often gone. So when you combine regulatory clarity, real adoption, supply pressure, and shifting sentiment, you start to see how all the pieces could come together. The XRP thesis is not based on one single factor. It is built on multiple developments that could align at the same time, and if that alignment happens, the move in price may not be slow or gradual. It could be fast, strong, and very difficult for late participants to catch. The most important thing to understand is that the XRP thesis is not built on just one idea or one event. It is a combination of multiple factors that are slowly aligning over time. We have talked about real-world use, the need for faster and cheaper payments, growing institutional interest, limited supply, increasing liquidity needs, and the possibility of major triggers like regulation and adoption. When all these elements come together, they create a strong foundation for long-term growth. This is why more people are starting to take the idea of an insanely high XRP price seriously. But at the same time, it is important to stay realistic and patient. Markets do not move in a straight line. There will always be ups and downs, moments of excitement and moments of doubt. This is a normal part of any financial market. The key difference is how you respond to these movements. Those who understand the bigger picture are usually less affected by short-term changes. Instead of reacting to every small price move, they focus on the long-term direction and the underlying value. Another thing to keep in mind is that opportunities like this often come with uncertainty. If everything was completely clear and guaranteed, the price would already be much higher. The reason there is still an opportunity is because there is still doubt in the market. This is how markets work. Early stages are always filled with mixed opinions, and only later does the majority start to agree. By that time, the biggest gains are often already made. Looking ahead, the next few years could be very important for XRP. As the financial world continues to evolve and adopt new technologies, assets that provide real solutions may stand out more than ever. XRP is positioned in a way that connects traditional finance with modern blockchain systems. If this position becomes stronger over time, it could lead to a level of demand that is far greater than what we see today. At the same time, it is always important to do your own research and not rely only on one source of information. The crypto market moves fast, and things can change quickly. Staying informed and thinking carefully before making decisions is always the best approach. If you found this breakdown helpful and you want more simple and clear updates like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you never miss an important XRP update. Your support helps the channel grow and keeps you ahead in the market. And finally, a quick financial disclaimer. This video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. The XRP thesis is gaining attention, the pieces are slowly coming together, and the question is no longer just about price, it is about timing, understanding, and being prepared for what could come next.